Today I'm excited to show you the brand new starter Pokemon designs for the Constella region. I've been updating their art style and refining them to match how I design Fakemons now, and I can't wait for you to see the results. We'll start with the time lapse of the new designs, then move on into the pixel art versions, including front, back, and party icons, and finally, you'll get to see how they look in-game. I'm excited, I'm really happy. Let's jump right into this and check them out. So for the fire starter, this redesign was really about updating the art style more than anything else. I actually did like the old design a lot because it was cute, but it came from a time when my approach to Fakémon design and even how I draw in general was very different. Coming back to it now, I wanted to keep the original charm while reworking it in a way that feels more in line with how I design today. Visually, I leaned much harder into the idea of it being a fluffy sheep, especially by exaggerating the wool. That exaggeration ended up becoming the core of the design. I changed the color of the wool and I gave it a lot more of it, to the point where it almost starts to overtake the head. Lately, I've really been enjoying pushing one key feature in my Fakémon designs, and for this one, the wool felt like the right place to do that. That said, the wool was also the hardest part to get right. I wanted it to feel cloud-like and exaggerated, but I didn't click right away. It looked good on paper, but once I started roughing it out digitally, I had to redraw it a few times before it finally worked out. Even with all the changes I made, I feel like I managed to keep the cuteness I liked from the original design, while also making it feel more polished and more like a proper starter Pokemon. For the water starter, this design was also mostly about updating the art style to better match how I design now. The original concept itself still worked really well, so I didn't want to stray too far from it, but I kept the core idea of it being a crab that grows things on its body, along with the underlying inspiration from the Cancer constellation. Color-wise, nothing really changed, but it did shift the overall theme a bit. In the older design, the design leaned more into coral, but for this redesign, I moved away from that and focused more on seaweed itself. I specifically leaned into rockweed since this version is now going to be a water rock type Pokemon, instead of the initial water going to water fighting type. I also pulled inspiration from the box crab. That helped ground the design a bit more, and I made the typing feel clearer visually. Adding the seaweed also gave a chance to push the idea of things naturally growing on the Pokemon, without making the design feel too busy. Compared to the fire starter, this one was more about refining and redirecting the concept rather than exaggerating a single feature. In the end, I feel like it still reads as the same Pokemon, just more focused, more intentional, and a lot closer to how I approach Fakémon designs now. The grass starter ended up going through the biggest change out of the three, mostly because the original concept no longer fit the direction I wanted to take it. The old final evolution leaned into a grass rock typing, and once that was off the table, the entire line kind of needed a reset. The constellation inspiration is still there though. It's still based on Maiden or the Virgo constellation, but how that idea shows up visually is pretty different now. One of the biggest changes is what it's actually based on. Instead of it being an orange like the old design, it's now more of a cute humanoid sprig root. That shift alone helped the design feel a lot cleaner and more flexible going forward. Visually, I exaggerated the leaves coming off of the back of the head since that felt like the strongest place to push the grass typing. I also changed the overall color palette, moving away from the older look and leaning more into greens with a small pop of pink on the cheeks to give it a bit more personality and contrast, and it was also very cute. I also added what I kind of jokingly call antenna, even though they're not insect antenna at all. They're actually meant to look more like grain growing out of its head, which helped reinforce the plant theme without, making it feel like it's going to be a bug type or something. Overall, this redesign feels a lot cuter and more importantly, a lot more like a starter Pokemon to me. It's a bigger departure than the other two, but it fits the current direction of the project way better than the old design ever did. And now for the time lapse. But while you watch this time lapse, I wanted to give a peek in how I approach turning these designs into pixel art. Working in pixels comes with its own challenges. Every angle, proportion, and detail has to read clearly at a tiny scale. One thing I've learned, especially from watching other great pixel artists on YouTube, is that focusing on the shapes first makes all the difference. I usually start by figuring out how the shape sits on the Pokemon and making sort of a stick figure or wireframe version in pixels before I add any color or shading. Doing this first really speeds up the process and makes the final design feel more solid and accurate. After that, it's a lot of trial and error, adjusting features, simplifying details, and sometimes completely rethinking how something works at such a small scale. Even small elements like the fire starter's fluff wool or the grass starter's leaves take extra care to make sure they're readable and maintain its personality of the Pokemon. I normally work on these live on Twitch so viewers can see all the adjustments as they happen, but lately I've been doing some off camera as well, revisiting old designs or experimenting for fun, which has really helped me refine my pixel art techniques even more. And now that the pixel sprites are finished, let's check them out in game, how they look in battle and in the Pokédex, so you can really see all the details come to life. This is the part I was most excited to show you guys today. Let's get on with it. Alrighty guys, so here we are in game. We're actually in the player's room. I hope you like it. Yeah, I'm excited. I don't have a script for this, so I'm just gonna go right now. We're gonna show you the Pokemons here real quick. I do have the Pokedex ready, but let's actually get right into looking at the Pokemon. So we have Corliss, Calyrex, and Spriget. Those are the names of the Pokemon. Corliss used to be called Cosinder, but he will now be known as Corliss. It just makes more sense what the names are based off. It's a cloud, basically, and a sheep. That's, yeah, there you go. But anyways, one of the cool things here is that the Corliss and Calyrex still have that 50-50 to be male. No, not my bad. Not 50-50. I think it's 80% male and 20% female. So like the casual starter stuff. But with Spriget, it's actually reversed. So it's mainly female, but it can be male. And it actually has the difference in gender like I had in the original design. I can show you that later on as well. Anyways, here's Corliss. Gonna be cute. There's no prize for them yet. I didn't get to that yet. I really just wanted to get the pixel art done and then go from there. But here's Corliss, Fire, Pokemon, Jolly Nature, Blaze. So this second floor, yep. This is the house is a 2th floor. No surprise there. Ability, Blaze, stats. We'll get to see this all later on. If you haven't already, because I'm pretty sure I just copy and pasted the stats from the last, the old designs. So they shouldn't change too much. Tackle, Ember, Tail Whip. That's what they have right now. Alright, let's move on to Calyrex. Very cute. Same thing. No audio, but it is a water rock type now. So this is actually going to be one of those starters that will have the water rock typing. And then on top of that, so the water stuff in my head, we have Calyrex, who's going to have 2 typings from the start. Corliss is going to have 2 typings in his final stage. And Spriget's actually going to have a second typing on the second stage. So it's one of those cool ideas I had. It's a very small idea, so I didn't really mention it in the other video, but here we go. Mild Nature, Stats, Torrent. On top of that, you got Tackle, Bubble, and Harden. And then last but not least, Spriget. This one took me so long, dude. But I'm so happy how it came out, considering I am a beginner. Grass type, as I said before, Overgrow, and here are the stats for it. Tackle, Leafage, and Growth are the abilities and powers it has. Alright, here are the icons, as you can see. Very cute. I remember making my first icon you probably won't see it. Actually, no, you will, yeah. Because I'm doing this recording after I've done my other script. Calyrex, Sprites, all this was done live streamed. I believe except this one, if I'm not mistaken. But both of these I live streamed. So yeah, make sure to check out my Twitch. Now let's do the cool thing. This one I did off camera, and I worked on the Pokedex. I wanted to feel like the original images I used to show you guys when I made my videos and I showcased my Pokemon. If you guys don't want to see that, let me know in the comments. If not, this is probably the direction I'll start going and just show you the designs in game. But here's Spriget, Corollas, and Calyrex. Alright, Spriget, the Sprig Root Pokemon, height 1 foot, weight 14.1 pounds. In the groups they live in, they have to learn from the elderly how to be a strong leader. Due to the little freedom, they tend to run and find a trainer to join. Alright, so area unknown. This is the map. If you guys haven't seen it, it looks phenomenal. I'm really happy about it. Here's the front and back sprite. Super cool. This is the female form as mentioned before. The male form kind of just loses one of its leaf on the little antenna as mentioned. Next is Corollas, the fire sheep Pokemon. Height is 2 feet. There's the foot right there. There's another foot. I forgot to mention that. Weight is 20 pounds and 3.3 pounds. Jesus. Corollas are extremely warm to people, and this makes them very popular. Its wool is warm to the touch, and people make clothing with it for the colder climates. So, again, back sprite, front sprite, back sprite. Super happy with it. This back sprite actually was the first back sprite I made. And then on top of that, it was revisited twice. So yeah, pretty happy about that because it turned out phenomenal as well. Alright, last but not least, Calyrex, the seaweed crab Pokemon. Water rock type, there's a little footy. Height is 8 inches. He's a tiny little starter, but that's because he's a crab, and I wanted him to be small and cute. Weight is 4 pounds, 4.9 pounds. And here's the dex entry, which I did change up from the previous one. Calcium carbonate. Calcium carbonate secrete from brown patches, making them coral-like, allowing seaweeds to take root. They are brave and shield the weak from bigger foes. Again, same concept. He still likes to protect people, and that's still the theme I wanted to go with him, even though I changed it to seaweed instead of coral. But here we are. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed that. Now let's actually get into a Pokemon battle, right? Because that's the cool thing. That's getting into battle and actually doing something. So that's my name right now, Ab. I just put AB. But let's do debug. Let's do battle options. Let's test a wild battle, right? Let's do Bulbasaur level 5. Oh my god, this Bulbasaur has no idea what's going to happen to him. There's Corollas, little big little guy. So cute. Use Ember. Classic. There we go. I would switch out to Calyrex. I know it's going to use Ember again. I mean, Vine Whip again, so I'm going to get demolished because it's water and rock. Here's the level up screen, which is cool. I did add some extra stuff already in game, which is really cool. Now let's switch up the Pokemon that is out. So let's go with Calyrex next. And let's go back to debug. We're going to go to battle option. Test wild battle. We're actually going to fight a Charmander, which is probably the worst combo to put against on a Charmander. Here's Calyrex. Alright, he's going to use Bubble. Ooh, Calyrex had some good defense, so we're not too worried about him. And he's a rock type, so that's not going to hurt him very much. Alright, my attack failed, but that's cool. I'm using special attacks. I'm completely fine. I still don't know what direction I want to go with Calyrex in terms of special or attack, but we'll get there whenever. But there we go. Alright, let's change this to Spriget, and you guessed it, we're going to fight Squirtle. Alright, I know I'm just bullying the Gen 1 Pokemon right now. I'm sorry, guys. If you guys do love them, I like Squirtle, so... Alrighty, here we go. Squirtle versus Spriget. Who will win? I know Spriget will, but hey. We're gonna do leafage next. There we go. Heck yeah. Tail whip, that's completely fine. You're not even gonna get to hit me once. I thought I was about to eat my own words there. It looks like we did a speed tie there. Alright, Sprites has won the battle. There we go. Awesome. It's so great to see them in game. I will notice, well, not really notice. I'm gonna let you guys know I do plan on adding overworld sprites to this project. I have yet to work on the sprites for that, but I didn't want to prolong the video any longer, so I kind of just focused on the battle stuff as well as the party stuff, and obviously the Pokédex. But that all comes in together. So the sprites are going to be a little bit different for the overworld. They're going to be harder to make. There's going to be at least, I think, was it 12, 14 per Pokemon? Because there's the walking animation, there's the side, there's the top. So there's a lot to work with. So for that one, I kind of put for a later date. But I hope that you guys would be excited about that for sure. Because I for one, loved following Pokemon. And then just making these Fakemons and actually putting them into the game is such a passion for me. It's so exciting. It's literally like dopamine for me. It's fantastic. And I hope that with this project, you guys are also excited. So let's move on to the end of the video. And that's it for the Starter Pokemon Showcase. I hope you enjoyed seeing the new designs, the time-lapse, and how they actually came to life in-game. Going forward, I'm planning to focus on one Pokemon at a time in these videos, especially if they have multiple evolutions. That way, I can work on pixel art for each one right after the design and post the videos faster. I'm already working on the next Pokemon designs, and I've got plenty of more ideas coming up, so stay tuned for that. If you do like this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. It really helps bring in new people and support the channel so we can keep growing this project and this channel. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Ciao!